One of my favorite gaming memories growing up was around about the time I was 15. It was a school holiday and I'd scraped together enough pocket money from doing random chores around the house and for my family that I was able to go down to the local computer store and buy a game, an RTS game that I'd held the box in my hand so many times that I swear I could see the indents of my fingers on the edges of the box. I was finally able to afford it. And I raced home and installed this game and started playing it, and it blew my mind. It was one of my favorite RTS experiences of my life. Such an iconic experience that I don't really think I have to tell you the name of it. I can simply show you this particular scene from the game, and it'll hopefully jog exact same memories from your side.
Select target. Nuclear weapon launched. Nuclear warhead approaching. Reinforcements have arrived.
Time to rock and roll. Keep them coming. You got it. I'm on it. I'm on it. Keep them coming. No problem. Real tough guy. No problem. That was left-handed.
Command & Conquer was and is simply just a fantastic franchise, and I remember it incredibly fondly. All the memories, the GDI, the nod, the cinematics, the real actors that played in it, the characters inside the game, all the different units, the comedy that the game would just inadvertently sometimes have. But it's exactly for this reason, for this nostalgic reason, that I've created this video today, and why I want to talk about a new game that was recently blown open at Gamescom. Even though I knew a little bit of detail about it before, we were given a lot more information at Gamescom, and with it coming out in 2023, I wanted to share this with you. If for some reason this game isn't on your radar, you definitely have to check it out if you are a fan of old school RTSs. And this is, of course, Tempest Rising. Slipgate Ironworks and 2B Games, the two studios that are collaborating on this title, have come out saying that this game is a homage, a love letter of sorts to all of these RTS classics from the past that we love so much. Games ranging from Dune, Command & Conquer, StarCraft, Warcraft. And that is the reason why there are so many parallels that can be drawn in here, and why it's essentially like this perfect bouquet of all of these things that we used to enjoy about those games. The story of the game plays off in a alternate history that kind of like differentiates from our history from the 1960s, where we had the Cuban Missile Crisis, but in this universe that crisis actually went quite bad, and a nuclear war was the result of it, with a winter that followed. And essentially from that, two very different factions sprung. On the one side you have the GDF, the faction that is more advanced, backed by rich countries, and on the other side you have Tempest Dynasty, which is essentially a faction made up of countries which were hit the hardest by this nuclear winter, and so therefore they're kind of like more of the ragtag bunch, coming with lower technology but with possibly with more numbers. There's also a third non-playable faction that currently we don't know a lot about, but most likely they will be the big bad, or overall the enemy that you end up fighting near the end of the campaign, since both of these sides that you are representing, whether you choose to play the GDF or the Tempest Dynasty, are not actually evil or good, but basically just representing two different sides of the coin. This is a classic RTS through and through. So this has base building with resource gathering, the resource in question being Tempest, which are these plants that you essentially have to harvest, and then that affords you the ability to build an army of, soldiers, tanks, planes, and all of that, to which you can then use to conquer the map and fight your enemies. Now, not only does this ship with single player and with a complete story for both sides, but there's also an extremely robust multiplayer portion to this game, which will have your standard skirmishes against AI and also some PvP. And not only that, but playing against other players will be in custom lobbies where you can change settings and all of those sorts of things, and it's kind of like non-sweaty. And then there will also be ranked ladder matches with an ELO system built in, because it seems like the developers are really hoping that there's enough depth here and that there's enough interest here that this will develop quite a following and actually have a competitive scene that goes alongside with it. The demo shown at Gamescom showed the entire first mission of the GDF campaign, and we were able to see what mission objectives look like, mission briefings and all of that. There's a lot going on here, but it is pretty much standard 90s RTS fare, but with a sprinkling of newer features that are in RTSs these days. What I mean by that is, of course, there are still super weapons and that sort of thing in this game, but what we also have is we have unit customization as well as some powers and so that you can unlock. A lot of this information hasn't been shared yet, and I'm inferring a lot of this from the questions which were asked to the developers. So in the coming months, there's obviously going to be much more revealed about this game. We don't even have a fixed date in 2023, only 2023 as a date for release, so it could be at the beginning of the year, it could be near the end, but most likely as this gets closer to release, we'll see more information and we can start finding out things about, like, for instance, if there's any co-op potential in the game. Is it shipping with a map builder and that sort of thing, because all of these will, of course, you know, give a lot more longevity to the game. I think it's a perfect time for strategy games to make a comeback of sorts. I don't think it'll ever go back to the way it was. It is in a way a game type that certainly has changed over the years and changed to the point where this is not really mainstream anymore. Nonetheless, I've recently gone through a bit of a nostalgic trip where I've been replaying all of these old RTSs, and that's just gone and gotten me even more excited for Tempest Rising. Keep an eye on the channel. I will bring any new information I find out about this as I can, but definitely go check out that first mission, the full playthrough. I didn't show the entire thing in this video, of course, that came from the Gamescom footage. If you want to know more, as well as the developer interview, I will link both of those videos in the description of this video. But thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Let me know in the comments down below if you're as excited for this as I am. Maybe you might even be more excited, who knows. And it's just super important to me that you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are in the world. And until next video, fucking cheers.
They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me.